Hunters, welcome back to another Flushman and Dustin podcast. Before we get into this episode, we got to drop some information on the Manscaped products that we got to try out. So they are very good products to shave up the man area to keep it nice and smooth, so your wives or girlfriends or whoever may enjoy those. Well, we've tried them out for the past week. It's nice. They have some anti-chafing cream, which is going to be super helpful come hunting season. But the Manscaped 4.0, the mower, it's really nice. You can shave everything. Don't have to worry about it nicking you, so that painful nick that a lot of shavers let you experience hasn't happened, so that's really nice. But yeah, check it out. You can get it at manscaped.com, and you can save yourself 20% using code RNR20. Again, that's RNR20 to save you 20% at checkout. Go check it out. Now let's get to the podcast. Hunters, welcome back to another Flushman and Dustin podcast. Excited to have everybody come back and listen. 2 weeks straight in the saddle, so we're happy to be back.
Getting her warmed up.
Dropping you some new episodes, getting things backed up. Ready for season to kick off. We've obviously started some dove hunting and some waterfowl hunting's kicked off in some upland and other states, but here in Iowa, we're still waiting for the good stuff to drop. But tonight we have Chris Midgette. I don't know if I said, did I mess it up?
No, you're good.
All right, I got also known as the Hunting Traveler on Instagram. So we've been following him for a while. He has some great content out there. Everybody go check him out. But Chris, give us some of your background. Let's hear about it.
Let's see. I was a Navy brat. I was actually born in California, but raised in Virginia. Went down to school down in Charleston. Went to the Citadel. Then did the Army for a few years. Went back to Virginia. Yeah, kind of new to the Upland game. Got my Boykin. Well, my older one, I got him right out of college and just kind of dove hunted with him and duck hunted. And then got Traveler, my younger one, from Brandywine Creek Kennels up in Indiana. And so duck hunting with him. And then duck hunting in Virginia is kind of, lack of a better term, shitty. So all we really got is divers and sea ducks. So, there's some mallards that come down, obviously the wood ducks and stuff. So started getting into Upland about 2 years ago, I guess. So like I said, really new to it, but had the opportunity to go west last year and kind of made the most of that. And now that's become a yearly trip for me. So
What made you switch to the Upland game?
Just be able to get the dog out more, man. Just give them more opportunities, because when we're diver hunting, we're sea duck hunting. We're out of a boat in the bay and we're putting 20 dozen long lines out, and our droppers aren't long enough for a dog to go over. So it's just a mess. So just want to get him on more birds and get him out more. So
yeah.
How is the upland hunting out your way?
That also pretty crappy.
So what are you doing living out there?
That's why you're the hunting traveler, because you got to go everywhere to have good hunts.
When I left college, I was like, damn, man, I don't know where I want to go. So, like I said, just found my way back to Virginia. And, I looked at living in other places. But like I was telling you, Tyler, I travel for work. So I need somebody to watch the dogs when I'm gone. So just still here. But, I mean, we got the woodcock migration's all right. We got some woodcock. We do have a quail season. But I read an article in 1983. They killed like 1,300,000 quail in Virginia. And then 2006, they shot like 30,000. So
Jesus,
massive loss of habitat.
I'd say.
Yeah, so we got some woodcock and we got some rail. Other than that, it's just buffalo head.
So what do you do, Chris? What's that? What do you do that travel so much?
So I do consulting, mostly looking at processes, marketing, budgeting. So I have clients all over the U.S. So typically Sunday night I fly out and I fly back home Friday night. If it's duck season, I pretty much grab the dog, grab my gun, grab my gear, and go sit in my buddy's driveway for an hour and a half, and then go duck hunting. So it gets pretty busy.
Oh man!
But like I was telling Tyler, I'm able to tie the traveling into some hunting trips during the wintertime, so make the most of that.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of traveling, you got any trips planned for this coming year?
Yeah, so my buddies and I have been going North Dakota maybe 6 or 7 years in a row. And then last year, Ryan Bumgarner, when I was out in North Dakota, I was coming back home from duck hunting, and he was like, "Hey man, if you're ever back in the area," because he's got a Boykin too, and he was like, "If you're ever back in the area, let me know. I'll get you on some upland birds." I said, "All right." So I had like a week off towards Thanksgiving, and said screw it, packed up the truck, loaded the dog, and we drove out there and pheasant hunted with him. So this year I'll tie the 2 trips together, and then on my way home from North Dakota, we'll stop in Wisconsin for a few days, and I'll work, and then hopefully shoot some grouse. So that'll be pretty much all of October. We'll be in the truck.
Jesus.
And then, let's see, November, I'm going to Maine for 4 days. And then I won a trip to Kansas for 3 days. So that'll be
Nice.
How'd
you win that?
Another podcast.
Shit.
Giveaway, man. So
Nice.
woke up to a text message one morning, and I was like, "Oh, all right, cool." So got that, and then nothing big planned for December. January, I'll go back out to Nebraska and hunt the North Platte. I've done that 2 years in a row. So
nice. Where's your favorite spot to go to?
Man, I'll never forget the first morning in North Dakota. My buddies had already been there for I think a day or two, and a single was flying right at us, and I was like, "Oh shit, there's a single." My buddy's like, "Look up, man. There's like 50, 75 mallards above us." And I'm like, "Dude, those birds ain't coming down." And he hit him with a hail call, and they just cycloned right down. And I was like, "Oh, this is different." I mean, in Virginia, the worst thing you can do is call out a duck.
Huh.
And whereas North Dakota, when we're hunting the North Platte, Nebraska, you gotta lay it on them pretty hard. So yeah, probably North Dakota. I did hunt Mississippi a couple years ago and did a timber hunt. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
Biometa, that's cool. But I like to just.
You do any upland hunting in North Dakota?
Yeah, so
duck?
I did that for a week last year. Got after some pheasants. Again, most of our upland in Virginia is put and take. As far as pheasant and chucker, we don't obviously have those. So last year when I took Traveler out for his first hunt, it took us about 2 days for him to kind of figure out the roosters. And I was pretty happy with him. I mean, the good thing about a Boykin is they can go in the cattails and they have no problem. They just slip right under them.
Yeah. How big is your dog?
He's on the bigger side. And when I say bigger, he's like 42, 44 pounds.
Yeah.
So he's good size though. I mean, he handles, if we're hunting buffalo heads, he can handle the bigger water as long as there's no long lines out, and he's easy enough to pick up and put him back in the boat. Not like a big old rod. So
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh yeah.
So what drew you to the Boykins? This is your second one, right?
Yeah, so actually my dad got his first in, I don't know, the 81. The breed standards were only made in like the late 70s, if I remember correctly, maybe mid 70s. So he got an early one and just grew up with them. I mean, I thought about getting something else. But I do like the size. I like the versatility. They can be kind of, I guess, ADD. I mean, they got the Spaniel in them. So, they mature slower than a lab, but they're fun. I mean, sometimes some of them are harder to train. Their personalities are really different. My older one, if I put a little growl in my voice, that's all I got to do to get him to react, or get him to stop doing whatever he's doing. Traveler on there, my younger one, he's a go-getter, and if he's doing something dumb, I smack him in the butt. He'll just wag his tail and be like, "What's up, man? You want to play?" So, as far as what brought me to him, just grew up with him, versatility. Some people worry about the cold with him, but Traveler's hunted in 8 degrees, and I just have a towel and dry him off, and he's good.
Nice. Yeah, do they so I mean, what kind of training did you do? Did you do the training for him, or did you take him somewhere, or what's your needs of the training?
My older one, Cooper, I trained him myself. Not extremely well, but he did the job. Traveler, with me being gone all the time, I did the basic stuff myself and then kind of sent him to a trainer to get done. As far as upland work, it didn't do anything. He just naturally quarters. I ran him in a hunt test for Boykin's, I think last year before last. And I was talking to a trainer, and I'm like, all right, well, what do I got to do before this test? And he goes, nothing, he'll do it. I'm like, what if he doesn't? He goes, no, he's going to do it. I go, well, again, if he doesn't, what do I need to do? And he goes, no, he's good. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So we went out there, and they'll naturally quarter. So really, the next level for that upland work is him to be steady to shot, steady to flush. Typically, he won't go after the flush. Normally, if I shoot, he'll take about 4 steps forward, 4 or 5 steps. But I'm really trying to clean that up a little bit, especially for the hunt test game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as far as retrieval,
how is his marking being he's so small? So like if a bird's out there, it's probably harder for him being a small dog to see over everything.
Because when we're actually hunting, he marks fine. The hard part is when we're at a hunt test that's set up for labs. And to your point, he's sitting in the grass, and most of the labs were sitting above the grass, and he's sitting in it trying to mark it.
Yep.
The hunt. We just did a basic junior test this weekend for AKC because we'd never done AKC before. We always did HRC.
Yep.
The grass was pretty tall. I was kind of worried about it, but he marked it fine. I mean, as long as he can, it's just like anything else. Just do basic marking drills, working on their depth perception.
Yep.
I mean, I have no doubt it messes them up sometimes, but I think once they get a line and kind of get into the area of the fall, the nose takes over. So
yep, 100%.
I took him to a tower shoot last year. I didn't shoot. I just had him picking up birds for people, and the cotton was probably chest high or so. I mean, pheasants were dropping left and right in the cotton, and I don't know how he found them. It was like a pterodactyl or like what are those things? The little velociraptors in the weeds. Like that's the only way I could see what it was. Is just the bushes moving, but he'd come out with the pheasants, so he does pretty good. I think it's just marking drills, and then like I said, just getting him into the area of the fall, and then letting the nose do its work.
Are those tower shoots popular out your way? I mean, in Iowa, Midwest, I've never even seen them. How they even work.
I have mixed emotions on them. As far as is ethicality a word? I don't know if that's a word, but the ethics of it
now.
You can make a word up on here if you want to. We're fine with it.
So basically the way it works is you have a tower in the middle and a bunch of stands on the outside. You're probably about, 50, 60 yards maybe away from the tower. Actually, probably farther than that. But basically the guy just throws a pheasant up from the tower and it flies towards your stand. You shoot, and they do maybe 5-10 birds, and then they blow a whistle and everybody moves one stand over. I've never shot at one. I've been to a bunch just to give him more work on birds. I think it's good for him because he sees the bird the whole entire time and he hears all the gunshots, but he doesn't always get to retrieve it because there's other dogs out there. So it forces him to have to learn how to honor and just realize, hey, not every bird that you see go down is yours.
Yep.
But then there's a lot of guys out there that are just deer hunters, just go out there, shoot stuff, and they can't hit the broadside of a horn. So, I mean, there was one last year. I mean, these are fat, slow, pen-raised pheasants, and it's flying right at him. Dude whiffed all 3 times, and Travis was just staring at the dude like, what the hell, man? For him. So, I mean, it's free. I think everybody eats the pheasants that they take home. So, but yeah, they're pretty popular out here. I mean,
yeah, it's just a weird concept.
Yeah, I think
you just stand there and just throw the birds up.
A lot of times they'll call them like European shoots, and I think that's where they got it from. Is they do it a lot out over in England and stuff. So, is it, like I said, is it ethical? I don't know. I mean, that's up to everybody else, I guess. But I'll do it for dog work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can't beat free dog work.
No. Well, not.
You know what the cost is to do that? I mean, around here you can go to like a pheasant farm and pay $100 for them to plant 3-4 birds.
Yeah, so I think it depends. I mean, there's definitely some tower shoots that are at some very fancy preserves. That those probably go, I don't know, $250, $300, if not more. And then there's other ones that are more like $100 that are, newer, just not as polished, I guess.
Yeah.
Now our going rate for birds at the put and takes think they normally charge like $8-9 a quail, maybe 10, and then like 12 to 14 for a chucker and around 18 for a pheasant, I think.
That's about what it costs around here.
Yeah.
We got a ton of preserves around us. I mean, that's the sad part. I mean, it's cool. Like, I have nothing against put and takes. I mean, I go there to get him primed up for the season. Now I don't go posting pictures saying, "Oh, look how many birds we shot today." 'Cause it's like,
Yeah.
they're out there. Like, it's not that difficult. But I think it's great.
Yeah, they're put out there for you.
Yeah, I mean, Traveler doesn't know the difference, so it does get him a little work. But people that are just getting into shooting or want to give hunting a try, or even a young kid, I'll take my dad out there, just get a couple hunts with him. So I don't have anything against put and takes. At least you're giving the animal a chance. But those tower shoots are, a little bit different.
Yeah.
That's a good. I like that term. We're going to do a put and take this weekend.
I mean, that's what it is. I mean, they tell you, like, put 4 birds in that field over there. Like, all right, I'll just keep walking around until I find them.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. We usually do a pheasant farm, what we call pheasant farms,
Right.
Around here. We usually do 1 or 2 of those a year preseason just to get the dogs geared back up, get some birds in their mouth. I mean, we don't have land, for that we can go out on and train with live birds throughout the year. So, I mean, that's really our only option to get them some work before season. I mean, and like you said, if you're not out there bragging, oh man, we went 6 for 6, got 6 birds a day. We both limited out,
Like, oh wow, imagine that.
well, why is your damn pheasant look like a half-bred chicken?
Right. Yeah, I mean,
So,
and Tyler still can't hit him, so it doesn't matter.
oh, shit.
Yeah, to get the dog some work. I mean, like I said, I'll go out there probably 4 or 5 times. I mean, I got some buddies. So I don't know about y'all's, but our preserves stay open at least till the end of March. Some stay open till the end of April.
March 31st, and then September 1st is when they open around here.
Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, especially after duck season goes out and deer season goes out, I got some buddies that call me up like, "Hey, you want to get Traveler on some birds? Like, we'd rather you get bring the dog rather than using a guide or something." So, I got nothing against that.
Yeah, I'm all for that. That's Tyler and I are just looking at a place to go here. The place we normally go is actually closed the weekend we wanted to go because I got a wedding. So that kind of pissed me off a little bit, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So Chris, would you prefer now that you got the taste of Upland the past 2 years, what do you prefer? Upland or waterfowl?
Well, see, that depends. I'm gonna ask you a question back. Is that waterfowl and Upland out west, or waterfowl and Upland in Virginia?
Let's say when you're traveling with Traveler, right? So let's say in this October, let's say you're heading out west, and someone says, "You know what? We got private ground for ducks. That's a pond full, and we got private ground for pheasant. That's loaded with birds." What are you gonna say if you can't do both?
Man, that's tough. I go through this a lot in my head because I'm like, damn, am I pushing waterfowl to the side? I might take Upland.
Yeah.
I was raised a duck hunter. I went on like a few quail hunts when I was younger. My dad raised me duck hunting though. And I have a strong passion for it and the history of it and all that. But there's something cool about just walking behind a dog. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I love watching Traveler pick up ducks, but then I get antsy. So I love just being able to walk.
You can talk too a little bit if you want.
Yeah, and you can talk. I mean, that's why
you can duck hunting too, but when they're coming in, you're
deer hunter because I'll fall asleep because I'm bored as shit. So I can't deer hunt. Like, at least duck hunting, like you said, you can talk. Yeah, I think I'm slowly transitioning into more of an Upland guy, to be honest with you.
What gets me hooked on it is one, dog. I love getting my dog out and seeing him work, seeing him be successful. That's number one. And then number two, we take a trip to South Dakota every year and everybody's like, you can shoot pheasants in Iowa. Well, yeah, but it's not about that. It's about the trip, the experience, scouting, finding the places to go, building relationships with farmers, like starting to do those types of things. I actually love the preparation of that and being like, oh God, And then when you're successful, I mean, just like anything, just like duck hunting too, you're going to be happy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think don't get me wrong, Traveler loves duck hunting, but damn, that's gotta be boring as hell for them. Just sitting, just sitting there, especially in Virginia.
45 minutes, an hour,
Yeah,
just
just
chilling.
Virginia all day long, just sitting there. He's doing nothing.
Oh man.
I did not grow up spoiled in the duck hunting world. If we got 3 ducks in the morning between my dad and I, that was a good day for us. Like I said, when I went out west and saw the ducks, I was like, good God, this is something different. But yeah, I mean, I think he enjoys up more because he's running the whole time,
Yeah. I think I'll kind of answer my own question. I think the thing that'll always draw me to Upland more than ever to waterfowl is that I feel like it's so much more rewarding for the dog and for me to watch. Like you're walking in acres of land, and then all of a sudden this dog hits the scent and they're finding where that bird's is and they pop the bird up, you shoot it, they get to retrieve it. Where like waterfowl, you're just sitting there calling, and you shoot it, then they get to retrieve the bird for you. But I don't know, I just love watching the dog being able to work, and it's nice when they get home, they're all freaking tuckered out. They don't want to do anymore.
Right.
But I think that's what will always draw me towards Upland more than going towards waterfowl. And I mean, waterfowl is fun, don't get me wrong. It's fun watching the birds come in from way out, and them cupping up and and all that. But man, there's nothing better than walking behind a dog and seeing that body language change and a rooster popping up through the grass. Man, it's a blast to watch. Or whatever upland bird.
I was actually spoiled with duck hunting when I was growing up. My high school basketball coach, we lived on the Mississippi, and I went hunting with him all the time and got to take my dog. And there was several mornings we'd go out and within 30 minutes we'd be done, limited out. We had that happen several times up in Guttenberg. Now the flight patterns have changed so much that he doesn't even hardly duck hunt anymore. And I haven't duck hunted since college. So that'd be, 10, 34. So that'd be 12 years ago when I was hunted with him last time, probably duck hunt anyways. So so I was spoiled in that, but I never got drawn to it because my grandpa actually had a farm and he had a bunch of pheasants on it all the time. We'd hunt on that. And I don't know, that just drew me to it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's I remember when I was packing up for my Upland trip last November, I was like, damn, all I need is a couple coolers and first aid kit, gun, and dog boots. I mean, that's all you need. Whereas, when we're packing up to head north or west for our duck hunt trip, we got the whole trailer packed full of stuff.
And it's so expensive.
Yeah, it's not a cheap sport.
Jesus Christ. I don't get how
many deeks do you have?
Freaking expensive.
At my house, because I haven't spread all over Virginia, to be honest with you, I have I have 10 of those big, 55-gallon trash cans in my shed. Those are part of our diver spread. Then I'd say all in all, I probably have 600. And those are just ducks, not counting the goose hunting stuff that we have.
Jesus.
I have a problem. I order a lot of decoys because I'm.
Do you have a favorite brand?
So I use Tango Free. They're also the only brand that use. Well, I shouldn't say only. They're one of the few brands that make sea duck decoys. Sea duck hunting got really big in Virginia probably 4 or 5 years ago. There was like us and maybe like 3 other groups of guys that hunted them in Virginia, at least where we live, and it's gotten a lot more popular. So, real quick, in Virginia, the problem with our blind laws is that if you build a blind on a public river, no one can hunt within 500 yards of your blind for the rest of that year. So every river just about is locked up with blinds. So we have to go to the big water to find open water to really, there's a few spots that you can find that are open, but then you got to beat someone else that has a boat. So, you're getting to the boat ramp at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning to find a spot. About 10, 12 years ago, we said screw it and just bought a big boat, and then we just started doing the open water hunting because there's nobody out there. So yeah, our blind laws suck. That also makes it kind of difficult.
So when we hunted up in Guttenberg, you could build a blind, and it was first come first serve.
Yeah. So there's a lot.
So somebody could actually go in your blind, and you'd be like, well, hey, I got this white rag on it. I was calling it. Well, yeah, we beat you here, and there's not shit you could do. Man, that would piss you off. Or they would set up like literally 50 yards from you, and then basically take all your ducks. Or
yeah, Nick, remember when we goose hunted?
Yeah,
that 1 year.
Yeah, people they'll burn you. Like it was crazy. So we were hunting back in this brush the 1 year, and then these guys pulled up with a boat blind and pulled into these weeds, and then pulled their thing up and parked. I mean,
just right on
50 yards in front of us. And you could see that we were back there. Yeah. And I was like, the fuck are you doing? I mean, piss the guy off. God.
Yeah, there's definitely that still happens in Virginia, but legally, which, I mean, I get needing a buffer zone, but 500 yards is a little much.
Yeah.
Not to mention, again, basically that 500-yard radius is now essentially, I mean, not really, but essentially your private property.
And where's your ethical hunters at? If I saw somebody be like, all right, well, I'm not going to hunt there. He's obvious, and if I got out there and I saw a blind, I definitely wouldn't go in it. I'd be like, oh, well, somebody else obviously took the time and built that. But it's open game. You can put all the work in. Somebody shows up before you. Doesn't matter.
I think in North Carolina, if I remember, and I'm probably wrong here, but I think you can hunt next to somebody else's blind, but you can't hunt in their blind. I think is my understanding of that rule in North Carolina. But Virginia, it's just straight up that you basically own 500 yards of that river. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, when you're going down a river, every 500 yards is another blind. It's like, well, shit, that river's locked up.
It doesn't take long to get a long.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if it's changed. I wonder if it's changed in. I mean, like I said, I haven't duck hunted in a long time on the Mississippi, so 10, 12 years. I wonder if it's changed since then. Like if they got new rules, I would guess not, but I don't know.
Yeah, so it makes killing a duck difficult in Virginia. So that's why we travel.
Yeah, no kidding.
Other places. I mean, shoot, I think we've seen maybe 2 other parties when we're in North Dakota. Like when we're actually out hunting. Now, we see other guys at the hotels, but we don't see other people when we're out there. I mean, there's just so much area,
Yeah.
Yeah, we even sorry, Tyler, but when we pheasant hunt out there, we go right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's as quiet as can be because everybody's with their family. So that's one reason we picked it. So that way we wouldn't have as much pressure and we could get on private ground. We've had luck doing that. Public ground's usually wide open. So we always try to.
The farmers, I think 2 years ago we took my truck out there, and they'd see my license plate from Virginia, and we're like, hey, we saw some ducks in that slough. Can we go hunt it? And they're like, you drove from Virginia to hunt ducks? And we're like, yes, sir. He goes, yeah, have at them. Shoot as many as you want. And we're like, oh, all right. Like they don't care about ducks out there. It's just pheasant and deer, really. At least the farmers we run into. So yeah.
And it's crazy though. So when we were out there, we had a farmer. He was like pretty guarded, I should say. And he was like, yeah, you can hunt that one field. That's it. That's all you can hunt. So we actually went and hunted it. Had a really good day. Went back to his house, took him some booze, some deer sticks, some deer sausage, and said, hey, we just wanted to thank you for letting us. And never asked anything else. And he goes, you guys done, or what do you think? We're like, oh no, we're gonna drive around, see if we can find some more spots. He goes, oh, well, if you're still gonna hunt, there's a spot right behind my house. If you want to drive through my cattle yard and all this and go back here, and you guys can hunt this back here. There's quite a few birds back in there too. So it's crazy. Like you just show a little hospitality and, oh, hey, here you go.
And I've heard, a lot of podcasts, when you're trying to hunt private land in another state, I mean, that hospitality, and we bring peanuts, and then my buddy does a lot of fishing. So we'll bring, rockfish, tilefish, tautog, flounder. We'll bring stuff to him. I mean, shoot, now we pull up to one farm, and every year they're like, hey, y'all bring us some peanuts again? So they can't grow them out there, so we bring fresh Virginia peanuts to them.
Are the peanuts that good?
for peanuts and Smithfield hams, that's about all we got going for us. So, they're not bad. But yeah, that hospitality, man, it goes a long way. It gets you, clean up after yourself. If you're duck hunting, we just put everything in sleds and carry it to the slough rather than driving through the land. I mean, it's not hard. Just respect their land and you can provide it back. And we've hunted most of the farmers' land 4 or 5 years in a row. So
yeah, I think like you said, showing them that respect goes a long ways.
Yeah, I mean, I even sent a Christmas/New Year's Eve card to our guys. Sent them those cards, and I just signed everybody's name in it. So
yeah, we had one farmer. We'd hunted his property 3-4 years in a row, and we would normally hunt his property 2 or 3 days out of the 2 weeks that we were there. So we ended up sending him a Christmas ham.
Nice.
And, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, he was just a really cool dude. I mean, him, and then we ran into his brother-in-law that he let us hunt his property too. So I mean, like I said, just talking to people, knocking on doors, it can be intimidating at first, but they're just nice, good people.
Yeah.
We had another guy who said, giving a guy booze. We had one guy, we're going to hunt his field, and we asked him if he wanted any ducks or geese that we shot. He goes, no, I'll just take a case of beer. I said, okay. So we all bought him a case of beer, went back to his house to drop it off, and he had left. And so his wife was like, yeah, just put it in the garage. So we put 6 cases of beer in his garage. He called us like 2 hours later. He's like, boys, y'all can come hunt my property whenever you want.
That's a good idea.
So,
that's awesome.
But that, it's just a different breed out there, just good people. So
yeah.
Gotta love it,
Definitely.
How long of a drive is that for you to South Dakota?
North
Dakota, I guess.
Nonstop, 26 to 28 hours.
Whew.
We stop for gas, and that's about it.
Yeah, gas prices are gonna treat you well this year, aren't
they? Yeah. It's 1 year was tough. We had 5 of us packed in my truck on the way home, and that was
Jesus.
That sucked.
That's a tight fit.
I did a lot of NyQuil on the way home from that drive and just slept.
God, yeah.
Oh,
God, yeah.
Yeah,
that would suck.
It's right 26, 28 hours with the trailer, so it's a haul.
So what's
you're probably not getting good gas mileage either, so you're probably filling up every 2.5 hours.
About 3 to 4 hours, I'd say. Probably.
With that big, depending on the trailer, how heavy the trailer is, probably.
Yeah. So what's how old is Traveler?
So he's 3.
3. Nice.
Yeah.
So what's a couple of your favorite stories with him?
I mean, the first story is probably a mess up on my part and a completely botched retrieve. It was like, I think, our 4th day in North Dakota last year. And I didn't realize how much y'all's water fluctuates in those rivers. I mean, it was probably a 30-foot drop where we were hunting down where actually the water line was. And, the river was frozen, or I guess the creek rather. But sure enough, we flushed one and it went to fly across, and it's probably 20, 30 yards wide. And we shot it and landed on the other side. Like I said, Traveler at that point wasn't really steady. So he went to go try to fetch it. I stopped him, but when I stopped him, he was already halfway down, and it was just a steep drop off. So I tried to call him back up the cliff, and he couldn't get up the cliff. So I tried to climb down, couldn't climb down. So I eventually had to walk up the slough, put my gun down, then basically just kind of like sprawled myself on the wall and just like Spider-Man, shimmied across to him. At that point, my buddy got in the truck. So with Traveler, I put a little Upland vest on, just an orange one, just in case, somebody else is out there or something. So I pushed his ass up. He reached down, grabbed Traveler, picked him up. And of course, we still got the pheasant on the other side of the creek. So I waded the creek and went and got him. I mean, it was ice water up to my hips and a little chilly. So the next day, because I'd walked on the ice for the most part, and it helped me. So the next day we shot one, same creek, just on the other side, and it sailed probably about 50 yards across the creek and skidded across the ice, and Traveler made a perfect retrieve and brought it back. I did post that video of him trotting on the ice with the pheasant. Dude, in about 30 seconds, the heat that I caught.
Oh, I bet.
you let your dog climb on the ice, blah, blah. And I'm like, little do you know, my fat ass was on the ice the previous day because
Yeah.
he didn't retrieve it. So,
Yeah, he's 40
I
pounds
mean, I
or
took that video
30
down.
pounds.
Yeah, you get those
Yeah, I'm like,
keyboard
if-
warriors
tell
out
me.
there, and
Oh, dude, they were getting after it. So I was like, you know what? No. So that one was pretty cool. He let's see, another one last year, another pheasant. He has this habit, and he's out of it now. But last year, he would like to bring me the bird, but kind of show it off and swing around me rather than coming right to me and kind of and just sitting. And I was trying to get him out of the habit. Well, he retrieved the last pheasant that we needed for our limit, and he was trying to do his little swing around thing, and the wing was covering his face, and dude, he slammed smack dab in this boulder that was standing next to me, and I was like, "Oh, that'll serve you right to keep trying to swing around me." I had that on video. That was pretty funny.
that would be funny.
Yeah, I mean, he's had some pretty cool trees. I think the ice one was just cool. I mean, I'll send it to you guys because just seeing him trot across the ice. I mean, the sun's glaring off the ice, and he's just trotting, just happy as can be.
Oh, I bet that's cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
the landscape out there is just beautiful. You know.
yep. I mean, when you get retrieves like that, I mean, it's second to none. Diesel had one last year for us. It was actually a track of probably 100 to 150 yards. And he went out of our field across it was like a level B road or level C road, maybe, whatever it's called in South Dakota. Across the road, into another field, into a slough, up the slough, caught this bird. And we're all standing there watching him like, what the hell is he doing? Like, is he on another bird or whatever? Nope, he chased that bird. 100 yards.
Yeah,
And that video is posted. There's a few F-bombs in there because I was pretty excited.
Yeah,
Hard not to.
That was a fun one to watch.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too. Like, if you just trust the nose, man, that's the hardest thing I've had to realize.
Still don't realize it after having,
No.
he's my third lab, and sometimes like, we're not going over there. And then all of a sudden I'm like, son of a bitch.
I definitely still think I know better. I mean, I've pulled him off a bird, and he went right back. And I mean, we missed a shot, but we just walked through. I was walking through the cattails. My buddy's walking through the tree line. We flushed a bunch, and we thought they were all out. And Traveler backtracked and went behind us. Sure enough, same thing. I'm like, the hell is he doing? I started blowing my whistle trying to get him to come back, and sure enough, he flushed a rooster out of there. And of course, we missed all 3 times. So, got the pity look from Traveler there. But it's you think you know better, and it's like, damn, I should have realized that it's
every time.
But yeah, he's had some pretty cool ones. I mean, there was I guess he was only like a year and a half. Took him bufflehead hunting. We get a lot of buffleheads in Virginia, so for whatever reason, that's people's like bucket list bird, and I'm like, just come to Virginia. We got shit.
What is it?
Bufflehead.
Is that the black and white one?
Yeah, a little black and white guy. He's only about yay big and small.
Yeah.
Oh,
we have those right south of so I'm from right south of Cedar Rapids, and we there's a wetland area right south of where I live, and we get like 5 of those a year. They're maybe they're only yay little things, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And they fly real close to the water, right above the water, and they skim right above it. Yeah, we can shoot those all day long. We shoot those if we have nothing else to shoot, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, the wind kicked up, and we shot some, and I was sending Traveler, and I mean, it was a decent sized retrieve for him. He was like about a year and a half, and it was probably, I don't know, maybe 60, 70 yards out. But just seeing his little head just bobbing up and down the water, I mean, like I said, the wind was kicking, and it took him a while to get out there, but he was fine.
Was that did you send us that video? I feel like you might have. You sent one where he was out in a retrieve with a lot like white caps.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, that was a really good retrieve. He looked like that would have wore you out.
Oh, he did. I think we shot 12 that day. So,
oh wow.
I mean, that's just like any other dog, man. They got the heart.
Yeah.
It takes I hate when I do like a hunt test because all the lab guys go out in their labs, just haul ass, especially in the water, get the bird and come back, and then Traveler hauls ass in his own little way, but it just takes him so much longer to get the bird. I'm like, damn, this is taking forever. He's just smaller, So
yeah.
But they're a blast to hunt with, man. I mean,
the trainer that I had trained Diesel, they actually put a I think they have a champion title on a Boykin Spaniel.
Okay.
Yeah, they're out of Dubuque. Iowa. Their kennels
Yeah,
called
so
Starkeeper Kennels.
the Boykin. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
and then when I was running Diesel, because I have an HRC title on him too,
Nice.
and he was always running his dog, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to title this thing.
Mhm.
And then they were the only trainers to put an HRC title on a Gordon setter.
Oh wow. Oh
Yeah, so
yeah,
they did
that's
that
cool.
too. So
That's pretty
he
awesome.
has that,
That's
and
something.
he grand championed that dog too. So it was pretty cool to watch him work all these different dogs.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Like so actually, Boykin just passed the grand today. Actually, I think it was only one of them though. But yeah, they're the problem with the Boykin is that they're a good size and people like the size. Like that's how my dad got one. My dad wanted a lab when he was out of college. My mom said, "I don't want a tail knocking over shit off the tables or knocking the kids over, so you get something
Yeah,
smaller."
well,
That's how he
that
ended up
happens here frequently.
So the problem is, and someone's going to correct me on this, but I think 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago, uh, if I remember correctly, Boykin Spaniel Society was, and the Boykins didn't want to be AKC registered because they did not want to do dog shows. They specifically wanted to keep the breed as a hunting breed. And then, if I remember correctly, some people broke off of the BSS, got AKC registered. They made up with the Boykin Spaniel Society, and now that's how we can run AKC. Well, the problem is now you're seeing Boykins in dog shows and stuff, which, in my own opinion, I don't like it. Because now you have these shit breedings of Boykins that don't
Yep.
hunt, just like how it happened to the Golden Retriever. I mean,
Yep.
it's hard to find a good field bred Golden specifically because they are such a good pet. Um, so, there's a couple Facebook pages that I watch, and, these people are getting these Boykins not realizing that it's a hunting breed. And they're wondering why they're higher energy. And I'm like, well, it's a fucking spaniel. Like, they're
Yeah.
ADD and they're high energy, little spazzes, just like a cocker is.
Yep.
So you see them in rescues, but then also these other guys are buying a Boykin that isn't from a field line and they're expecting to hunt. It's not hunting, and then the Boykin gets a bad name as a hunting dog. So, yeah, I have mixed emotions on that one.
It is crazy that you brought that up, like Golden's though, because I know Tyler. We were
yeah.
actually talking about it. We were actually talking about it today. He was talking about possibly where he would get his next dog from, and then actually this Friday, my wife and I we go and we're gonna pick out. So it'll be about a year and a half, 2 years before I get the dog. But we're planning because Diesel's 7.
Okay.
We're not ready because we just had a baby. So I'm putting my deposit down, but I get to pick. They know who their males and females are going to be, so I get to be the first one to pick in 2 years, possibly what the breeding could be and what dog I'd want. So I'm excited about that. And they've been around a long time, and they produce some high powered dogs.
Are you getting another Golden?
No, I have a black lab, so I'll get. Yep. So I'm getting another lab. Would like to get black. But they started one of their dogs she told me that he was brown, and then the mom was it was a yellow, but a lighter yellow, and they started throwing reds. So now they have fox red dogs.
Yeah.
She said that they're crazy unique and crazy beautiful. If you've ever seen one that's like actually purebred.
Those reddish yellow labs, to me, they're beautiful. I think they look. I mean, even the reddish Goldens, I think, are gorgeous dogs.
Yep. So I'm looking at that because one of the males that they have, she said he's a beast. And he's, I think, 1.5. So he'll be breeding again, obviously in 2 years. And she's like, he's a freak. So she told me to look at him close.
Yeah. That's, I mean, getting a new dog, man, it's a whole nother experience. Even when you have one already, then you get another one. Like, oh shit, back to square one.
Well, I know, and that's the thing. It's like, God, you got to do that and go pick it out. And my wife's like, "Well, do you want me to go?" I'm fine with picking out what I want, but I'm like, I don't know if you're gonna like if I choose a fox red, are you gonna like that? Because she said she'd rather just have black. So it was like, well, it's technically our third kid or our fourth. Well, it'll be our fourth kid, so we might as well go together and pick out the parents anyway.
Now, do you believe in some of that stuff as far as like, don't pick the shy one or, pick the aggressive one or throw a duck wing and go after that? Like,
I tell you what.
At the end of the day, I don't know.
I tell you what. I think if you do it right, you can get that dog to have high drive. I bought Diesel, and when I bought him, I had no intentions of having him trained, and I had him professionally trained. He was the biggest, laziest dog. I mean, he was 16 pounds at 6 weeks when I picked him up. He was huge. He fit in both my hands, just a turd. Could barely walk because he was so fat because he ate so much. Still loves food. No, mainly all labs do, but I took him to a trainer. I was about 8 months. So I was a little bit past 6 months because I ended up getting a new job and I had to travel a lot for it. And I was like, well, I don't want to waste him just by setting him in the vet. So I hired somebody to train him, and he turned out to be the best dog I've ever had. I mean, obviously I know he got trained, but I think they brought that out of him. And I think you can do that with almost any dog. Now, of course, I think there's a dud here and there, right? There is, but for 95% of dogs that are bred to hunt, yeah, I think you can bring them out. I don't think it matters if they're shy or not. If they have the drive and you create that drive, it'll come out of them.
Yeah, I think to your point, if it's in the blood, I mean, they're not. I mean, I've had people before, obviously not really dog people, and they're like, well, how'd you train your dog to fetch? I'm like, I didn't. I just trained him to come back. Like, the dog naturally knows how to fetch. He wants to pick things up. And then force fetching is just getting them used to pressure and picking up what I want them to pick up.
The biggest thing that I was taught too, Chris, is generally your dog wants to please you. So if they figure out what you want, they're going to do it.
Yep. And that's the hard part, is communicating what you want them to do. Once they realize, oh, that's what you like, I'm going to do more of it. Yep. I mean, whether it's a lab, golden, Boykin.
It doesn't matter.
They're just eager to please. I mean, most of these hunting breeds anyways are trained for, obviously for the high drive, but the whole point of hunt tests is to show the trainability and the bid ability of a dog. And then you're passing those lines on. So if you get a field bred dog, it naturally wants to be biddable, AKA just make you happy. I mean, which goes along with what you guys were saying.
So I had my high school basketball coach. He actually trained. There's a guy in Iowa here named Clark Campbell, and he still a big time dog trainer. He helped him train dogs and became a trainer himself. But he was saying there's me dogs and then there's we dogs. Me dogs, he goes, they don't listen. They fucking hunt from themselves, and they're out there and they're just doing whatever, no matter how many times you call them. Right. And then there's we dogs who, these dogs keep coming back to check in on you. Oh, we good? We good? What do we got going on here on a bird? Okay. And for the most part, I think a lot of hunting dogs are we dogs, but there are a few of those who just they don't give a shit and they just do what they want.
I mean, and you can tell them. You can tell too, because especially in upland hunting, the dogs. Yeah, he's hunting, but he's hunting for himself. It's the one thing that I always thought was cool with Traveler, and he just naturally does it, is they'll, like you said, check in. He'll run out and he'll quarter, and he'll get to about, depending on the terrain, like we're in North Dakota in the cattails or even a field, he'll go 30 yards or so, and then he'll naturally turn back and come back to me. And just,
they probably can't see you.
No, even if we're in a field, he'll come back and look at me, and I'm like, all right, keep hunting, buddy, let's go. Like, they just naturally do it, which is, it makes my life easier. Now, if he occasionally ranges out too far, I just give him a whistle and he'll come right back. But yeah, I mean, most of these dogs, they just want to make you happy. And that's why I love, I turned down a trip to Tennessee because I was like, well, can the dog come? And they said no. I was like, I'm going to pass on that one then. And I can go shoot birds. I want to shoot birds with him.
It's super hard to hunt if your dog is hunting.
No, dude, it eats me up. I'm like, hey, man, I've turned down some good hunts because I'm like, oh, dog can't come, then I don't want to go. It's now become where I'll take one bird with him over a limit without him,
Oh, well, 100%. Exactly. And that was a dilemma that I've kind of ran into here. Like, Diesel's still, he's still in his prime, still in good shape. But it's like, I do know that I would call him a bigger lab. And everybody says, oh, my lab's 110 pounds. Well, yeah, your lab's fucking fat. I know that. Diesel is 90 pounds solid, and Tyler can attest to that. And he'll run all fucking day. Right. I just think that bigger lab on those hips, I'm worried he could eventually, he doesn't have any signs of hip dysplasia. He would have had it already if he did, but I just think, God, he could break down at any time. Will he last as long? So I had my one male black lab, he lasted me he hunted 14 years. And he died at 15 years. So I'm like, well, God, if I have, is he, after I get this other dog, is he going to hunt another 4 years yet? Or is he going to be done? So that's a tough call.
Yeah, but you'd rather have the one if
I know, right?
Right.
I'd rather get the new one, and retire him than maybe run him too hard.
I'd tell you what though, when you retire the dog and you got to leave your house, leave the old dog and bring the new dog, boy, that eats you up. Like,
oh yeah,
that's gotta be tough.
Yeah, he sees me grab the e-collar, my gun, and waders, and he's like, "What's up, dude?" And then he sees me take Traveler. I'm like, "I'm sorry, buddy. Like, I can't do it anymore, man."
Yeah.
My dad's second Boykin, she lived to be 21, and her last dove hunt was 15 years old.
21 years old?
She was 21 when she passed. Well, actually, we put her to sleep because she couldn't walk. She was pissing herself, and it just got sad.
Is that typical for a Boykin to live that long?
No, she actually had a heart murmur too when she was a puppy. So she was kind of a freak. Now, most Boykins, they live 16, 18. I mean, they live a little bit longer, just being a smaller breed.
Yep.
And the Boykin, really, they're a mutt. Like, they don't know what the original Boykin was. There's just, I don't know if you guys know the story, but it was basically this little brown dog. It was in Camden, South Carolina. Followed this guy in like 1906 or something. Followed this guy to church, and the dog was still there outside of church. So he took the dog home, found out that it liked to fetch. So he gave it to Mr. Boykin, who started training it and breeding it. And that's how we got the Boykin Spaniel. Like, they think it was an American Water Spaniel or a Cocker, but they're not 100% sure. Yeah,
interesting.
That's how it got started. I mean, they know now it's got Cocker, American Water Spaniel, some Chessie, but they don't know what the original one was. So it's a mutt. So because of that, they don't have a lot of, I mean, they still have, you got to watch out for hip dysplasia. You got to watch out for EIC, obviously their eyes and stuff, but they don't have a lot of the issues that some of those purebred dogs have, because that gene pool is so much bigger,
Yep.
Well, at least it's got a lot of different good breeds in it.
Yeah, Chesapeake Bay. Those are stubborn dogs right there.
You'll see some Boykins. My dad had one, Rebel. Perfect name for him too. He was probably right at 50 pounds. He's a big Boykin, and stubborn just like a Chessie, man. You'd shoot a duck and it'd land 10 yards out, and he'd look at it like, yeah, I'm not picking that up. And then you'd shoot a goose that was like 150 yards out, and he was all about it. I mean, that dude tore up some geese. He fetched, I think in his lifetime, he got 4 or 5 swans for us. I mean, anything bigger than him, he was all about it. I mean, got a duck right at his feet. He's just like, no, I'm not touching that thing. Like, so
that's funny.
Isn't it crazy the different attitudes or personalities in all the dogs? Everybody's always different. Yeah. It's crazy.
And Boykins have crazy. I mean, you can. I guess that comes from them being such a mutt, but you can get a super curly coat in a Boykin. You can get a straight coat. Traveler, I specifically wanted a curly double coat because I knew I was going to be doing a lot of them. Want to be warm. I wanted a bigger one, but I mean, Boykins, I know some trainers that train labs that don't touch Boykins because they can be temperamental. Not temperamental like a Chessie where they get pissed off and like want to bite your head off, but temperamental where they get pissed off and they're like, you know what, dude, I'm not doing anything for you for another day or two. Like
that sounds right, because I remember him training his, and he'd always have to be gentle because it was like, because I'd watch him train him sometimes and be like, well, we didn't get it right. That was it.
Now, Traveler, from what I've been told and the little bit that I've worked with him, he doesn't have that. Now, my old one, Cooper, like I said, if I'm too hard on him, he'll definitely give me the cold shoulder for like a day or two. I'm like, all right, well, fuck you too, dude. Like, so, yeah, they can have a difficult personality. They're just not like a lab. Like, I love labs, but they're like robots. I mean, no offense.
Yeah,
you can do the same drill with a lab over and over and over, and they'll do it perfect every single time. They're just happy doing that. Whereas a Boykin, you do it 5 times in a row, and he's like, all right, dude, I'm done. Like, this is boring. I'm tired of this. Because it's the Spaniel. They have, ADD in them. They got to be tested.
Yeah.
So
I'll test that. Diesel, I can run him a few different drills, but I can run the same ones. And right now I'm working them up to I like to get them up to about 50 different types of retrieves before season. Really gets them in
Mhm.
shape. And we'll do 30, and that's different. That'll be blind retrieve. Sometimes I'll do the T drill with them because they can do overs and backs, and but I just go out and I do that, and I can make him do it as many times as I want. He'll do it every time.
Yeah, so Traveler, he will get a limit where he's eventually like, I'm just gonna go wander off over here. Like even when I whistle, to start giving him a cast, he'll sit perfectly, but instead of looking right at me to waiting on that command, he'll sit down, then he'll go, oh, yeah, okay, my bad, dude. Like he'll just look around for 10 seconds. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I gotta wait. Like I can't correct him for that, So just gotta deal with it. I mean, it's one of the spaniel things,
Oh, that's funny.
Just gotta put up with it.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Freaking dogs.
It's good to learn about them, though. They're very intriguing.
Yeah, they're fun. I mean, it's just anybody that ever asked me about a Boykin, one of the first things I tell them straight up is they're not a lab. Don't expect it to be a lab. They mature slower than a lab physically and mentally. Like you can do way more with a 6-month-old lab than you can with a Boykin. They just mature slower. Now, obviously, there's exceptions to the rule. Like I've seen some just badass Boykins at 6 months, but that's not the typical. I mean, they're just slower.
Yep.
I mean, shit, a 6-month-old Boykin isn't even fully grown. I mean, neither's a lab, but they're definitely 10 times bigger than a 6-month-old.
Yeah, 6 months old. He's probably only what, 10 pounds?
Yeah, they're probably. I'd say 25ish. We'll give them 25ish to 30.
Okay.
Because it's that first year. I mean, they're still growing. Whereas, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say 9 months to a year, a lab's pretty much fully grown. They're just they're just filling out after that. From what I know, but I'm not a professional or anything. But yeah, I mean, they're fun to hunt with, man. I mean, they're a blast. Like just like anything else, they just want to make you happy. But when they do something dumb and they go, they pull a Boykin move on you, you just got to laugh it off. I mean,
well, shit. When you're coming through Iowa, you have to let us know and hope maybe we can snag a quick hunt someday.
Well, I might even go to Iowa because I think there's like 4 days in between my duck hunting trip to the pheasant trip, and so I was figuring out if I was going to just hunt by myself in North Dakota or maybe go bum Ryan for a while he's in Iowa too.
Yep.
He's right near you guys, so
I think he's in Sioux City, I think, isn't he? Or where's he by?
I think he's in Des Moines.
Is he in Des Moines? Well, that's where I live. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, shit, he did the same thing. He invited me, I guess, and I'd never known Ryan from Adam. He just saw I had a Boykin, I guess, and sure enough, like 3 weeks later, I was like, "Hey, buddy, I'm coming in town. I'm gonna come hunt." So, yeah, I mean that'd be cool. But when are you guys going to South Dakota?
Right after Thanksgiving.
Oh, so you guys go the same time every year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Seems to work. There's not a lot of pressure. Usually Airbnbs are open, and we've had luck when we go out at that time. So hopefully it's cooler this year than last year. Last year was pretty freaking warm. It's still like 45 degrees out there. I was like, shit.
Yeah.
Didn't even wear a jacket some days or anything. Just t-shirt.
Yeah, I was in North Dakota the week of Thanksgiving. And yeah, it was definitely not North Dakota weather. I mean, it was, like I said, probably.
Yep.
Shit, I was hunting in like a long sleeve shirt, but a lightweight one by the afternoon. I mean, it got hot. So yeah, last year was different. What do you think about the drought? You think it's gonna screw up bird numbers? I've heard that the upland birds are still good this year.
I mean, I think it's gonna. So we went out there. It was just 2 years ago, and all the crops were in. And there's a ton of birds, but we didn't shoot, and we couldn't fucking shoot nothing. I mean, everything was in the crops. So I'm hoping that this drought, when we go out this year, is gonna hopefully benefit us some. But I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, and I think even with pheasants, they don't take as much water or rain like the ducks do. As long as they have a good dew on the on the plants and whatnot in the mornings, I think they can get enough water for themselves. I'd think, yeah, the waterfowl pop, I think it definitely hurt waterfowl, but
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I mean, I think this year for waterfowl will turn up to water. You're gonna be golden. It's just gonna be fine in the water.
yeah,
But I mean, you guys said it earlier too. Like we went out 3 years ago, 4 years ago. There was a bad drought in North Dakota, and we shot less birds than normal. Hell, we still shot more birds than we do in Virginia.
Yep.
But it's
Yep.
just experience of going out there. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's cool to limit out, but shit, just seeing that terrain and just
It's not why we go at all is to limit out. We go for the experience on it. I mean, it's just
I mean,
fun getting the boys together, having a few beers on a gravel road, and
That's right.
I don't even know if you call them gravel roads
right.
out there. Fuck.
yeah.
Some of
Yeah.
those,
North
some of those
Dakota,
roads,
it's so weird, dude.
fucking A.
The first year we were out there, we were following a map, and the road, everything's numbered and everything's gridded out there, and the road just stopped in the middle of the field. And I'm driving, I'm driving a rental Hyundai, and we beat shit at it straight. But it just stopped in the road. Like there's no end of it. So my buddy's like, all right, we'll just keep driving. So we kept driving, and then the road picks up like, I don't know, maybe 100 yards down. I'm like, what the fuck? Like it's
Yeah. You
Same
drive
in
through a
Same in
farmer's
South
field.
Dakota. You're like, can we be here?
Yeah.
Where am I going right now? So just go
Like-
straight. All
Fucking cattle are walking next to you and you're on a normal road. You're like, what the fuck?
I'll never forget the one day was flooded, and Tyler and I we decided to drive out in the middle of this field, and it was all flooded across there. I had to have Tyler walk in front of the truck to make sure that
Yeah.
I didn't drive into a fucking hole. Made it across there. I don't know, it was somebody's land. And it was just like, oh well.
found a road like that. It had a stop sign, and after the stop sign, everything was underwater. You could tell that this road hadn't been serviceable in years because it wasn't like just this was flood water. This was just underwater.
Yeah.
We did not take the Hyundai through that. That one we knew better. Yeah, it's just different out there, man. I mean,
Have you ever been
is.
down one of those roads where it's just all grass and you can't see anything, and the sides it drops off, and then you keep driving, and you can't fucking turn around? You're like, how am I gonna get the hell out of here? And you just keep driving and driving. You're like,
hopefully they don't hit a big ass fucking pothole.
can we turn around here? Nope. Okay, keep driving, and hopefully you get to an opening where you can just inch it around.
It's
and
the
just
weirdest fucking thing.
Austin Powers in the hallway. That's what you do on those fucking.
yeah, some of those roads are sketchy. I mean,
Oh man.
but that's half the fun too. Is I mean, I remember year before last, we flushed some. I guess they weren't prairie chickens. They must have been Huns. No, Sharpies rather. While we were scouting for ducks, we saw where they landed. So my buddy jumped out and grabbed the gun and walked them up and shot one of them. And he comes back and he threw it in the truck and shut the door and went to go put the gun back. And apparently the Hun was not, or the Sharpie was not dead. And so, dude, it fluttered around my truck, and we're trying to catch this damn thing. And we finally caught it and put it out of its misery. But for like a year, if I drove my truck windows open, a feather would hit me in the face. I'm like, Sharpie feather. I'm like,
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, it's just experience, just going out there and having fun and
Yeah,
eat a few birds and have some good stories.
definitely that's what it's about. So, well, Chris, we appreciate you coming on the podcast. We usually try to keep them right at an hour, so
Yeah,
definitely appreciate it. I think next week we're gonna do. I wanted to touch on dove hunting. I think you got out, so next week we're gonna do a power hour dove hunting one with some people. So
okay.
hopefully you can join in on that on Thursday next week. But
Yep.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you coming on. We learned a shit ton
Yeah, thank
about the Boykins and
Gotta educate y'all on the little brown dog, man.
yeah,
Hey,
that's
man.
right. That's right. So yeah, if you're coming through, let us know. We'll drop you our numbers so we have them. And
Roger out.
good luck this year and enjoy your month-long hunting extravaganza.
Yeah, man, that's
Sounds
incredible.
fun.
But I appreciate it, and if you guys ever want to go shoot some of them little buffalo heads, let me know and we'll get you out there. We got some
Yeah,
other
for sure.
ducks too, but I can guarantee.
I'll take some peanuts, I guess. I'll get some
Oh,
peanuts.
Yeah, I get some peanuts too. I'll take those.
Get your peanuts. All right. All right. Have a good night.
You guys do something.
Thanks, Chris. Yep. Bye.
See you later.